Welcome. It's Legal Vices. And here we are. It's Admiralty Day. It's Monday night here in Busan, South Korea. It's cold as hell and windy. It looks like it's going to be raining, and we might be in for some rough seas this evening. How is everyone doing today? Let's do our real quick check-in of where we're all at this point in time. Again, I am here in wonderful, festive Busan, South Korea. And how about all of you? Michigan. Welcome, Jason. Where else are we watching from here this morning? Afternoon, evening, where we're Houston. Well, you're up nice and early this morning. All righty. Jersey, Missouri, Michigan. We got the states representing. Where's all my Ireland, England, and Australian peeps this morning, this evening, this afternoon? There we go. There's some England. We got some UK jacking in. All right, Idaho. Always good to have an Idaho in the crowd. Well, as we said, today is going to be an interesting day, I hope. I'm wearing the captain's hat, and I got this here is a custom pipe that was made by a gentleman in the U.S. On Instagram. He goes by Seawolf, but he spells it a little bit differently than the novel Seawolf. But Seawolf is his favorite novel, and I really love the Seawolf novel as well. This is the Death Larson pipe, inspired by the Death Larson character in the novel Seawolf. So I got that and my Polish fisherman's hat on, and so I figure that's a good thing to do, to be dealing with the Admiralty and Maritime issues today. So welcome aboard, Cody Smith from the hometown in Utah. Where are you at in Utah right at this moment? Never get enough Utah. I'll be in Utah the last 2 weeks of July, by the way, and I definitely plan on hitting some adult beverage establishments in Salt Lake City. So we'll maybe have to try to do a meetup while I'm there or something. I'll just had a day when I plan to let know what location I'll be at, and whoever shows up, whatever. So what do I do? This is my thing here with the law. I do a lot of what I do. I mean, a huge part of my job is dealing with Admiralty and Maritime issues. What does that mean? That means ship collisions, ship disasters, groundings, explosions, capsizing, things like that. South Jordan, great. Cody Smith is again from South Jordan. Usually when I'm in Salt Lake, I go to the Lake Effect Bar. Best bar in Utah, hands down, and an amazing bar anywhere. By any standards. So anyway, yeah, a large part of what I do is this Admiralty and Maritime thing with ship damage, ship collisions, ship sinkings, explosions, fires, oil spills, capsizings, crew injuries, cargo damage, cargo claims, ship sales, ship purchases, shipbuilding construction contracts, things like that. That's what I do. Tasmania, a bit of a snowstorm down there, I hear. The Concordia, the Concordia is quite the case. We might have to do that as well. I don't know how many of these ship collision videos there are out there, but definitely when we run out of those, we can start in on maritime disaster cases and sort of look at them, if that's what people want. And again, this is just a complete random thing to do that the chat asked me to do. So as we go, your feedback on this particular video is going to be very important to see if this is something we continue doing, see if it's something you like, see if it's something you want to do. So, hey, it's your call, but I didn't even know that ship accidents were a thing on YouTube. So I just randomly typed ship collisions into YouTube, and I was surprised by the number of videos that came out. So that's what I want to do. I just want to look at them and see what's going on. Again, I haven't watched any of them. I've reserved my viewing to be done jointly with you. I'm going to be seeing these at the same time you're seeing them for the first time. So I have no idea. I resisted the urge to watch them by myself, and we'll see. Oh, wow. Here we are. We have started the day. Thank you so much, Diamonds and Henna, for your wonderful chat this morning, and a good morning to you from California. And while we're at it, please like and subscribe. All of you that are here now, just reach down there, click that little like button, and I would be honored and deeply, deeply privileged and deeply, deeply grateful and deeply, deeply humbled if you haven't already done so, just to click that little subscribe button, and let's keep this journey moving on forward. Let's see how far we can get our subscriptions to go up today. That would be fun. And again, thank you so much for the generous donations, the super chats, the super stickers, the super likes, everything. Just those are obviously deeply, deeply appreciated. Keep them coming, and I'll keep being grateful and appreciated. We have here Doc McFuzzball. Obviously, I speak for myself, but my take is that everyone here finds you interesting, and that makes us curious about what you're interested in. Well, gee, thanks. That's very kind. I'm trying not to sneeze here. Okay, yeah. So that's very kind of you. Hopefully you'll find this interesting. Hopefully I'll find it interesting. Shit, I mean, this could be boring videos. I don't know. I haven't watched it, but again, like, subscribe, and please. I will generously accept whatever donations are chucked my way. But one criticism I have gotten into is that I wander around too much with my talking, and it takes forever to get into the damn details. But I just want to say, gotta have a little background before we get into the main meat. But we've done this, so let's start with the videos. But first, it's the grand appearance of the mega pint glass. I don't know if you saw the video I uploaded when I got it over the weekend, but it's here now, and this is now the official drinking cup of adult beverages for Legal Vice's Pimp Cup. This is my official Pimp Cup, and this will be part of every stream I do if I have anything to say about it. So cheers. We are loaded to the brim with a very, very generous portion of rum, and topped off with a lovely Coke and lemon. Now, let's take to the seas and see what we're dealing with. Oh, we got a super sticker. Thank you from Tanasha R. You rock. All right. Let's pull up the screen and see what we've got. Again, this is something we're going to have to do together because I don't know. This is all brand new to me. Let's see. The first video we've got here is where we got here. It is let me bring the screen up here so it's a little bit bigger. Boom. The 15 biggest ship collisions and mistakes. This is just the randomly selected first video in our in our little journey here today. I'm going to bring up these videos bigger so we can see what's going on. And well, all right, I'm getting settled in here, and now I'll just play through this, stop it if I see there's anything interesting to comment on or anything that I think might need to be explained, and just sort of give you my general comments on each of these. And without further ado, let's just hit the play button.
People mess up, make mistakes, and cause problems. Usually, the mistakes people make are pretty mundane. But if you're a captain of a small ship, mistakes can escalate into massive catastrophes. Here are the top 15 biggest ship collisions.
Oh, no, that's a famous case, that one there. That was
15,
intentional.
Cruising into Venice. Venice is one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world, but with limited space for people to stay during the peak seasons. One of the best ways to visit is by cruise ship, much to the annoyance of the locals. While the ships usually enter port and leave again without any problems, there are occasional incidents that happen because of the occasional unpredictable weather. And in 2019, one managed to collide with a wharf and a tourist boat in the Giudecca Canal.
Oh, no. There's lots of things that contribute to ship accidents. Weather is remarkably a small part of it. Usually it's operator error, occasionally problems with the ship itself. Oh, that's interesting. Engineer says, as a former marine engineer, this is going to be interesting. I've been in one sailing for MSC. Unwraps often had great risk. Yeah, so you might be able to call bullshit or to I guess concur with the narrator of the videos or even my own opinions. But good to have you aboard here. Oh, and Doc McFuzzball, mega points for your mega points. Thanks. All right, back to Venice. Yeah, so they're saying that the weather caused this. How bad does the weather get in Venice, really?
The 13-deck MSC Opera experienced an engine failure.
Oh, oh, shit. I was trying to mess up the volume.
Popular tourist destinations in the world, but with limited space.
I was upping the volume
during the peak season.
Skipped us ahead.
One of the best ways to visit is by cruise ship, much to the annoyance of the locals. While the ships usually enter port and leave again without any problems, there are occasional incidents that happen because of the occasional unpredictable weather. And in 2019, one managed to collide with a wharf and a tourist boat in the Suez Canal. The 13-deck MSC Opera experienced an engine failure just as it was approaching, so there was nothing the crew could do except for sounding the horn and hoping for the best.
Jesus.
People on the dock ran to safety, and those on board a riverboat that was moored alongside the wharf did their best to disembark before the cruise ship struck. It hit the dock and then slid into the smaller boat, forcing it from its moorings and causing tens of thousands of dollars worth of damage.
That'd scare the shit out of you, wouldn't it?
No one was killed, but 5 people were severely injured. Following the accident, the mayor of Venice insisted that cruise ships alter their routes they take to avoid anything like this from happening again. Number 14.
Wow.
MSC Armonia. The 900.
Okay, that thing in Venice. I mean, that's a problem that happens quite often when accidents happen at piers or when they're berthing the vessels. If something goes wrong, then there's a good chance you're going to hit another ship that's there as well. And yeah, I mean, when your engine goes, there's not a fucking thing you can really do about it. You can drop your anchor and hope that slows you down. But I mean, the size of these ships are remarkably hard to get your mind around. I mean, we're talking, some of these are hundreds of meters long and you 500,000 tons. I mean, these things, it's everything on board a ship happens in slow motion. I mean, you can see that an accident is going to happen, a minute, 2 minutes, however long in advance, and no, there's not a damn thing you can do about it because the ship just is not going to respond quickly enough to avoid the accident. So a lot of times it's just how much of the damage can we avoid and how much can we mitigate this by taking certain actions. So yeah, that sucks. And the ships are also heavily insured. So there you go.
902-foot-long MSC Armonia is a 65,000 gross tonnage.
Wait, how long was that?
The 902-foot-long MSC Armonia is a 65,000.
See, 900 feet long. That's 3 American football fields long. And it weighs 65,000 tons. That's actually pretty light. So these things are massive.
1,000 gross tonnage cruise ship that takes an expert eye to steer. Unfortunately, the crew in control in April of 2018 probably needed more training as they completely miscalculated their approach to a port in Honduras. As the footage shows, it appears to be traveling towards the dock at an unusual angle and with too great a speed.
Yeah, I would say perpendicular is a pretty bad angle.
It crashed into the dock, causing a number of structures to fall into the water. And instead of stopping, it continued on around the shoreline to the nearby beach, where it deployed its anchor.
That just went straight through.
It reversed out into ocean waters. But quite how this happened still isn't clear. According to the cruise company that operates the ship, it had been scheduled to stop at the port, but they weren't sure how its route deviated so much that it grazed the end.
People not paying attention. That's how the majority of these accidents happen. There's actually a really great book. It's about this thick, and it's called Collisions at Sea. How? And I mean, when you investigate accidents and things, which is what I do, excuse me. I mean, everybody will say they were paying attention. Everybody's looking out the window, staring ahead, maintaining their watch. So if you have 2 ships full of people that are staring out the window at each other, but none of them know how it happened, kind of tells you that a lot of times people don't tell the truth about what happened.
Fortunately, no one was injured and the damage was minimal, but it could have been a very different story. The ship was able to continue on its 14-day cruise around the Caribbean, although everyone on board probably held their breath a little every time it approached a port for the rest of the trip. Number 13, container ship versus football
This
ground.
is famous. This is Hong Kong.
You may be able to understand if a ship manages to hit a rocky outcrop that's beneath the waves, or a smaller vessel that's sailed in front of it and is obscured from view. But the one thing you'd always expect a crew in charge of a boat to be aware of is the mainland. Sometimes, though, it's not as easy as that, and this footage shows even the simplest of obstacles can prove to be too much to overcome. In 2014, it seemed like any other day.
Yeah, this was a
Joggers
really
and
famous
athletes
case.
were using the Stanley Ho Sports Center in Hong Kong's Pok Fu Lam district in the same way that they always do. But on this occasion, things were going to get a little more exciting. The Hansa Constitution, a German-registered ship that was fully loaded with containers, managed to run aground on the shore just next to the park, to the amazement of onlookers. The ship dropped its anchor in one last attempt to slow itself down before making contact, but it's to no avail. It became lodged in the bank and needed the assistance of 2 tugboats to drag it free. The company wasn't forthcoming with a reason why this may have happened, but the most likely explanation is that it experienced a sudden loss of power.
Yeah, if the ship company isn't telling you why the accident happened, if they're not being forthcoming, there's probably a good reason. Loss of power is a good reason. I mean, I don't know why you just wouldn't say there was mechanical problems.
Which often means a loss of steering, too. So the crew wouldn't have been able to do anything apart from watch and hope for the best. Number 12, the Yushin Maru 3.
Oh, okay. Now this is wild. This is also another famous case. This is Greenpeace, I think it was, battling Japanese whaling ships. This is some pretty cool stuff.
Despite international agreement between most countries of the world, there are still a few that continue to hunt and capture whales from the oceans, and Japan is one of them. The ships that go out to track down the majestic beasts are often followed by environmental campaigners, something that their crews don't take kindly to, and the results can be intense. This is footage of the Yushin Maru 3, a Japanese whaling ship that was being followed by 2 Sea Shepherd ships in 2014.
Yeah. Sea Shepherds.
The ships were doing their best to keep the Yushin Maru 3 away from any whales. The Japanese crew resorted to dangerous measures to get away. They first tried dragging cables around the ships to damage their propellers, but after this failed, they resorted to even more extreme measures. At one point, the Yushin Maru 3 skipper decides to purposefully ram directly into the Bob Barker at high speed, which caused...
The price is right on this one. For those of you that don't know, Bob Barker was a animal rights activist who ran the popular American game show The Price is Right before Drew Carey took it over. But there's a couple of times that Japanese have intentionally rammed the people stopping their whaling operations, and intentional acts usually aren't covered by insurance. So this is just money out of the pocket just to do damage.
Serious damage to this vessel. It's worrying enough to see an accidental collision like this, but the fact that it was an active decision to do so, and to the risk of crews on both ships, makes it a criminal act at best.
Well.
Number 11, container ships in Nansha Port. Container ships can carry such huge loads of cargo that when they face an emerging incident, it's almost impossible for the crew to slow them down or steer them out of the way in time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Okay, these ships, these container ships, are massive, and you're talking these are 20-foot containers on the ships here. Sometimes they'll have 40-foot containers, but these are 20-foot containers. So what's that, like 6 meters? A little more than 6 meters each one, and you will get thousands and thousands of them. I mean, you can have 15,000 containers, and these containers, anything can be in these containers. I mean, it can be full of tin cans and essentially worthless. They can even be empty containers if they're going somewhere else. But there could also be, tens of millions of dollars worth of sensitive electronics or some inside each one of these containers. So if you're getting involved in an accident with containers, you're talking enormous legal problems. and enormous sums of money. Because when you, and I mean, the first of all, I mean, we've seen these like with the Johnny Depp trials, like they both live in California. Well, he lives in California, she lives wherever she lives now, but they sued in Virginia because that's where the newspaper server was. But in international problems like this, it's much more complicated because you'll have say a Brazil, well, you'll have like a Chinese ship owner. The company is, the main company is Chinese, but they will have set up a Panamanian company to register the ship in Panama, and each one of those containers is subject to a separate contract for carriage that can involve the country of the shipper, the country of the receiver, as well as the country of the goods, and they can apply another country's law. So even starting with these issues, if it's just two ships going bumping into each other and damaging the ship, it's not so difficult. But when you have thousands upon thousands of containers, all owned by different people from different countries, as well as ships that can be owned by several different layers of companies, the idea of where do we even start to file the lawsuit can be a huge issue. And you can have, from the same incident, you could have potentially countless litigations going on around the world. But there's means for trying to consolidate them and things. But the international nature of these things are unbelievable. They're unbelievably complex. And once you figure out where you're doing it, what law do you apply? And that can be equally as confusing and difficult. But yeah, these container ships are massive. Yeah, Duke, and that's what I'm saying. Like every one of these containers is under a separate contract carriage, which has a different governing law and a different place for litigation, and some are lawsuits, some require arbitration. It's a mess when something goes wrong. Let's continue on with this case here.
This footage was recorded in December of 2018 and shows what happened to two ships that belong to the Quanshu Ansheng Shipping Corporation.
And that was way sped up, by the way, in case you didn't know. that was way sped up video. Oh, and okay, I'll go through this.
The 4,300-ton Rianjin 15 was approaching the Nansha port
a small
in Guangzhou when it lost control and missed its berth.
Oops.
Instead, it sailed straight into the Haisu 10, a 698-ton ship that was already docked at the port. There was nothing either crew could do to prevent it. A number of containers fell off the Haisu 10.
Yeah, there you go.
16 were damaged. Following the incident, the Haisu 10 was left listing to one side,
and
the Port Emergency Authority had to deploy rescue teams to pump water out of its interior to stabilize it.
Yeah, that's not something you want to have happen at all. Oh, and when you T-bone another ship like that, not teabag a ship, when you T-bone the ship, and I mean that's just, because these ships are so massive and there's so much steel involved that even the smallest accidents will be tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, even for small little accidents, just the damage to the vessels. Plus, you have any cargo damage, like they said, in this one, 16 containers fell overboard. Then the ship is listing. So, all of these things figure into the lawsuits. The cost of getting the rescue teams out there, the Coast Guard vessels, all of the stuff they're involved in, the damage to both vessels, the damage to cargo on both vessels, and forget. And also, you sue for lost time. Most of these ships are on schedules. And if they delay, and the rent on some of these ships is crazy. Just the leasing costs, the daily hire costs for these can be incredible. We're dealing with a case now where the daily rental, the daily hire for the ship was $85,000 for a day. That's like the leasing cost per day for that vessel, $85,000. So because of an accident, if you're delayed 10 days, that's $850,000 in rent that you lose out on. That's nearly $1 million for 11 days, 12 days sets you back $1 million just in rental, let alone all the damage being done. Plus, the other ship has their rental costs, their higher costs as well. And it's crazy the amount of damages you can get into on these things. Excuse me there. Let's clear a couple of these here real quick. Honky Kong, you made a comment. How do you fuck up like this? You're not even in the road. You can pick any direction to avoid another ship. Yeah, I mean, in port, it's a little easier to understand, but when you're in the high seas and two ships just bump into each other in the high seas, that's even weirder to wrap your head around. I mean, we're dealing with a case now where two ships hit each other and one sank. Brand new, just happened a few days ago. But yeah, you're just in the middle of the ocean and this shit happens. It's astounding sometimes. Madam Von Kook, thank you very much. Good morning. Got my mega pint of coffee. I got my mega pint of rum and coke. It's 8:21 a.m. here in New York. Love your channel. Glad to see you making interesting content. Well, I'm glad you're here too, because you make it interesting. And again, if there's anything you guys want to see, if you have any videos you want me to react to along these lines or anything else, any topics you want me to cover, please email me at thelegalvices@gmail.com or message me on Twitter, thelegalvices on Twitter. Engineer, international law causes all kinds of problems. Oh, doesn't it? Look into the story of the explosion in Lebanon and the fact it was probably abandoned cargo. I mean, that was one of the largest explosions in human history. I mean, when you vaporize an entire section of the port, that's a big fucking explosion. Captain Dunzel, thank you so much. I did a short-term contract with APL working on software to sort placement of containers on board, weight and destination to keep the ship safe and minimize offload times. Yeah, that's a thing too. See, this is kind of cool. I didn't know there was so many of you shipping types here, and you know, keep pumping these information in here because they remind me of things to say. That's also all of these container ships where you have the 5, 10, 15,000 containers. They're all under computer software systems because you declare the weight of the container. And so they have to make sure everything is properly balanced. The stowage plan has to be there. What's going to be offloaded first? What's going to be offloaded last? Where it's going to be offloaded? Because you can have one ship that'll stop. It'll just be on this. They're liner vessels where they just hit port after port on this regular schedule. So you have to be able to offload, unload things, and this computer system, the stowage plan software controls all of this. And Captain Dunzel, I guess that's what he was working on. Thanks for the comment. That's a great point. Thanks for reminding me of that. Well, let's see where we're happening here. What's going to happen with this particular ship?
The larger Renjin 15 also suffered significant damage to its hull.
Same accident.
While it didn't breach in the same way as the other ship, it was no longer seaworthy and had to go in for extensive repairs.
And again, remember, extensive repairs, they can take months and months and months. And depending on what the leasing situation is, the charter, they call them charters, what the charter situation is, it can be millions of dollars in lost hire that someone has to compensate for.
Miraculously, no one was injured and no pollution was released into the water. The investigation.
Oh yeah, the pollution. I mean, you want to talk billions of dollars potentially in damages from these major oil spills.
Began to determine who was responsible and how to prevent it from happening again. Number 10, grain ship hits tuna trawler.
Oh!
In October of 2010, a 738-foot-long grain carrying ship called the MV Gran Rodosi was approaching the Port Lincoln Wharf in South Australia when things went terribly wrong. As it came close to moor, it seems as if there was a loss of steering and the bow collided straight into a tuna trawler. Said by eyewitnesses to look like a can opener on a tin of baked beans, the trawler, the Apollo...
Can opener on a baked beans? Come on, can opener on a tin of tuna. It's a tuna vessel. Come on, what's it? Baked beans. Come on, tuna. And that looks like a big tuna ship. So you're talking this vessel that just got crunched. I'll say at least $7-8 million.
OS was split open and completely crushed.
Ugh.
It's clear that there was no hope of the vessel surviving this, and the extent of the damage became clear when the grain ship was finally pulled away. and the trawler
Yeah, that's
rolled
much
onto
more
its
than
side
7
with
million.
part of the jetty that had collapsed on top of it.
Oh, the jetty
Believed to
collapsed
be
on it
worth
too.
around $17 million.
Yeah, 17 million.
It took just 25 minutes for the trawler to sink, while the much larger vessel managed to escape.
Jesus. Yep, that'll mash it up. And now again, this is also more damages that you have to factor in to the lawsuits and the legal issues. There's going to be a salvage company that their job is to contract for usually a shit ton of money to come in and clear up this vessel, to clean up to raise the vessel or to scrap it up, to move it, to get all the oil out. And that's another huge chunk of cash. I mean, there's so many things that pile onto the legal costs that, as you delve deeper into the accident, it's just, you're like, holy fuck, there's a lot of money here, which is why there's huge amounts of insurance on all of these vessels. But yeah, that's I would say that was crushed. Dang.
Virtually unscathed. No personnel were injured, but a large quantity of diesel was spilled into the water.
Yep.
And port authorities had to deploy teams to try to contain it before it washed ashore. On the
Again,
nearby
hundreds
beaches.
of thousands
The
of
jetty,
dollars
too, was severely
cleanup
damaged
oil
and had to be
costs.
closed for several weeks while repairs were carried out.
Okay, and see, that's another thing. I'm listening to these damages pile up. Everything we've talked about, the damage to the ships, the salvaging, the removing the wreck costs, the lost rental for both of the ships, the lost hire for both of the ships, the pollution damage, all of those cleanup costs. And then you have to repair the berth where this damage happened. And they said that the pier was closed for several weeks. Now, the piers, they make a shit ton of money offloading stuff as well. And if they can't operate, they're suffering ridiculously huge losses every day that they're not able to use that berth. And those are all things that get claimed.
Number 9, the Sea Grand versus a bridge. You've heard the dangers of drinking and driving a road.
No. Time the fuck out. Whoa. We got to go back. Holy fucking shit. Okay. All right. Why do I have my knickers in a twist here? This is a case that I worked on. This is a case that my office did. I'm looking at this bridge outside my window right now as we speak. And not doxing myself, I don't think. Yeah, like my house is just to the left of this picture. If this camera goes over about another centimeter, another half inch, then my house would be here. Yeah, this was a case we worked on a couple years ago. This is awesome. Holy shit. I'm internet famous. Okay, now I can tell you all about this. Well, a little bit about it. There's still confidentiality clauses and things, but this was a Russian ship. As we're looking at it, like on our side of the vessel, our viewing side of the vessel, there was a really tiny little berth, and the vessel was supposed to come off of the berth. It was supposed to use tugs as well, but he decided he didn't want to use any tugs. Oh, yeah, Carl's here. Carl, if I recall correctly, Carl, you live like in front of the bridge, like there on Gwangali Beach, right? Did you make a note in chat, Carl? Did you see this accident? Yeah, this was huge here. This was kind of funny. This is like when Busan gets itself on the map. But yeah, the Russian guy was supposed to sail from the berth using Yep. Carl's KTX says, yep, he saw it. Yeah, this was the thing to do, was to look at this. But yeah, Carl KTX, if this ship goes straight, then he's got about a kilometer before he hits Gwangan Beach. And if for those of you that saw the movie Black Panther, the part where they're in Busan, Korea, Black Panther people, they go to the casino in Busan, and there was a car chase on the bridge where Black Panther was like on top of a blue BMW and things. And they raced along this bridge. This is the bridge that they were racing on in Black Panther. Yeah, this is the Black Panther bridge.
The Sea Grand versus a bridge.
Sea Grand versus a bridge. Yeah, this here is the bridge from the Black Panther movie. Now, as I was saying, Carl says he missed it by about 15 minutes, but he heard it. Yeah, that's great. And we'll see how much of the video they show, and then maybe that'll just be. I'll show some of the video next time, like the other parts. But they were supposed to debirth using tugs. For some reason, they didn't use tugs, and he was supposed to sail from the berth and turn to starboard. When you turn to the right and go around the island and continue on his merry way. For some reason, he turned to port. He turned left and kind of did this big U-turn where he's got this whole fucking Pacific Ocean on this side and a bridge, a little tiny bay, and a beach on the other side. He makes the U-turn and decides to go straight for the bridge and the beach for some reason. What could that reason possibly be? Well, if you believe the prosecutors in the court, the Russian captain of the vessel was intoxicated at the time the accident occurred. He doesn't deny that he was drinking, but what the captain said was because of the accident, he doesn't know how the accident occurred, but because of the accident, he was so shocked he went to his cabin and started drinking. Yeah. Yeah, so this is awesome. This is hilarious. Cheers, Captain. We'll see how much of this they show, and I'll find some other videos to watch another time. All right, let's get Carl out of here again. Now, let's see how much of this they show.
Bridge. You've heard the dangers of drinking and driving a road car.
Yep.
The consequences of drinking and driving a large ship can be even worse. In February of 2019, a 370-foot-long Russian ship, the Sea Grand, had arrived in Busan, South Korea, and was loaded with 3 million pounds of steel coins before leaving dock and heading back to Vladivostok.
Now, this is steel coins. It's not like money coins, it's just like little discs of steel used for various things.
The vessel should have continued sailing north along the coast, but for some reason took a turn into a small bay after a couple of miles.
Okay, there. Right there, that's my house is behind. I think, yeah, right there. That's kind of the building right next to me. We won't get to see my building, but that's the building next to my house. Yeah, so he for some reason he just turned and went towards the beach
and headed straight towards the double-decker Guangdong Bridge.
Guang'an Bridge.
Officials saw the ship had deviated and radioed the captain, but he didn't speak English well enough to be able to respond. Even though it looks as if the ship began to try to reverse, it was way too late, and it collided with the bridge. Traffic began to stop as the drivers realized what was happening, and the foremast of the ship was broken.
Okay, other fun fact, right here on the left side of the screen, that's my friend's car. He was like, holy shit, I just saw this accident. And then the videos came, he goes, holy shit, that's my car. But there's a couple of things to notice about this accident. There's a number one, like you saw the video from the bridge of the Russian vessel. All of ships these days have essentially a black box. I mean, they record. There's video recordings, there's audio recordings, and it records all of the audio in the bridge, so you can hear the conversations that are happening on the bridge while they're moving. It records the radar system, everything, all the alarms. And so it's essentially the same as an airplane black box. And so you just have to get the black box and you can analyze the data and pretty much figure out what happened. So what you were seeing is you were seeing the video from the bridge of the ship, and we can back this up a little bit. Yeah, this is the video from the bridge of the vessel. The timestamps and things up there, but our little comrade here, he was, as he was running, he's like, fuck it, I need to get back in the ship. And then you just sort of watch the front of the ship crunch into the bridge, and
traffic began to stop as the drivers realized what was happening, and the foremast of the ship was broken.
There goes a friend's car.
Amazingly, though, the ship didn't stay in place and instead reversed.
Notice how the traffic didn't really stop. That is so Korean. The driving, I mean, you have this gigantic fucking ship that's plowing into the bridge, and like, all right, it's a Tuesday morning here. They kind of slow down, and then they just keep going.
Out of the bridge and continued on its journey. A rare case of a marine hit and run. Of course, it was constantly being tracked by the Coast Guard, who caught up with it with a squad of 4 patrol boats and forced it back into port.
Nah, that's bullshit. That never happened. What they did is he did. This is him backing up. Yeah, he did manage to get the ship to go astern. He backs up a little bit, and then he was trying to go away. But again, it takes forever for these ships to turn, and the inertia going backwards, you have to counter that, then start going forward. So it takes a long time to back up, go forward, and get away. He tried to run, but he didn't get anywhere. I mean, he made it maybe 100 or 200 meters, and then the Coast Guard surrounded him and stopped him. But we didn't work for the vessel. One thing that they haven't mentioned was that when he was pulling away from the port and sort of beginning his turn towards the bridge, he clipped the side of a yacht and a barge, and we represented the yacht and barge owners.
It was then that the captain was breathalyzed and found to be almost 3 times the legal limit.
That wasn't that much.
In the following investigation, it was also suspected that the vessel had also collided with the cruise ship.
Yes, we represented these guys.
As it left the original port, and while it's unclear if the captain was at the controls at the time, he was arrested because he bears full responsibility.
Yeah, he was found guilty of I'm trying to think. Operating a vessel under the influence, attempting to flee the scene of the accident, and I think there was another one that he wasn't convicted of. But if I recall correctly, he was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison, but it was suspended for a period of 4 years. So they give him the sentence and they say, all right, now get the hell out of the country and never come back. But so if he doesn't commit another crime in Korea for the next 4 years, then he'll be off the hook. But he's basically on probation for 4 years. So that's, if I recall correctly, it was 2.5 year sentence with it suspended for 4 years. That's hilarious. That is so fucking funny. The case I worked on makes the 15 biggest ship collisions and mistakes. I rock. That's great. So, thank you. And if any of this is interesting to anybody, please like and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, this is the kind of stuff that I want to do maybe once a week or something. That'll be fun to do. Do the containers have GPS for security? Some containers will have GPS, but what they have is all the containers are locked. They have these seals on them, and the seals have registered numbers. And so if you get a container that doesn't have a seal on it, or the seal number doesn't match the seal number it was shipped with, someone's been fucking around with the container. And that happens quite a bit. But again, the ships have all of the where the container is, because the container they all have numbers on the side of them. The containers have specific numbers, and they're entered into the softwares. When it was loaded, when it got to the port, where it was stored in the port, what time it got put on the ship, where it got put on the ship, what time it got off the ship. All of this is recorded, in programs across the world. So you always know where the container is. It's not too hard to find it. And then you can check the serial numbers to make sure it hasn't been fucked with. And can't the ships see each other coming? Yeah, they see each other coming. A lot of times they don't, though, because they're doing something else and not paying attention. Or if they do see each other coming, it's like the game of chicken where, he'll obviously move, so I don't have to. Or it's they see each other too late, and there's not a thing they can do about it. Like I said, it takes so long for these ships to stop or to turn that a lot of times you just have to do your best to minimize the damage. Man, 4949, thank you so much for the super sticker. You rock. Much appreciated. And the last one we've got here, Giselle Sinclair. Oh, thank you so much for that generous donation. You are awesome. Good morning. Finally made it to a live stream. Woo! Did you ever see Speed 2? It's speed, but with ships. That should have been the tagline. It's speed, but with ships. Pretty funny. Yeah, no Keanu, though. Love the video. Who was in Speed 2? Was it Colin Farrell comes on? This couldn't have been Colin Farrell. Was it? I can't remember. But yeah, love the videos, your take on things. Just wanted to show you some love, and I appreciate that love. Thank you so much for that generous donation. You are incredibly awesome, and I deeply, deeply appreciate it. All right. Wow, that's kind of funny. Well, I know Sandra Bullock was in it, but like there was the male lead. What was there a male lead in it? God, it's been, I saw it in the theater and wished I hadn't. That's how long ago it was, and that's how much I remember it. Literally, that's all I remember. It was like Speed, but on a boat. Oh God. Oh, all of Hotbog Lloyd's containers have GPS in them. I did not know that. That would be expensive to maintain though, because they have tens of thousands of containers. What? Yeah, but yeah, you know. Let's see if there was some other question. What was that ship movie? Titanic? I don't know. All right, so that was fun. That was a case I worked on. All right, sorry if I nerded out too big about that case, but that was hilarious seeing it there. Miss Vicky May, you got to run. Thank you for coming. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and like on your way out if you haven't already done so.
We're constantly adding more people to the Top 5's production team to bring you all the best content. Be sure to subscribe.
To me.
Notifications on.
To me.
Hit the like button.
On my videos.
The Disney Dream.
Oh.
Some of the most spectacular cruise ships you'll see at sea are those that are operated by Disney. But despite having Mickey Mouse statues on their hulls, nothing can distract away from them when an accident occurs. That's exactly what happened in 2017. The Disney Dream was backing up to a pier in Nassau in the Bahamas when it failed to stop and collided with it, making a loud crunching sound as it did so. After realizing the error, the captain of the ship powered forward so that damage could be surveyed, and fortunately it hadn't affected the seaworthiness of the vessel. The dock, too, wasn't significantly damaged, as the cruise ship was able to moor up against it on the second attempt. A few days later, however, the ship was seen with makeshift patches on its bow where it had clearly sustained some superficial damage.
Yeah, they'll do temporary repairs just so it can stay afloat and be seaworthy. And then they'll go somewhere later and do permanent repairs, especially if they're like on cruise ships and things like that. But and these cruise ships are so massive. I mean, everyone thinks like the Titanic was one of the biggest ships there was. Like compared to this Disney thing, the Titanic would be a tiny, tiny little ship.
But this didn't interfere with its schedule, and the company was able to fix it between cruises. Quite whether the captain that day will ever be allowed to helm one again, however, is a different story. Number 7, the Petra Star. Large ships only really have the ability to steer themselves when their engines are running, so if they find themselves moving across the water at any other time, there's often a frantic race to take control of things. This was the situation the crew of the Petra Star found themselves in 2018, when they found themselves drifting perilously close to the Inse Hamburg. Both vessels were anchored at the Kafka's port anchorage in the Kerch Strait in the Black Sea.
And that's one of the anchors don't always stop the vessel. You know, I mean, the anchor is supposed to keep you in place, but it depends. You know, if it's not set well in the, you know, there's not like some rocky ground or some good ground in the bottom of the ocean to keep it there, it can drag its anchor, especially if there's a lot of wind involved or something like that. You know, it just kind of slows you down. But a lot of times the anchors don't really keep you in place.
It was an opportune time for the crews to rest, knowing that they had a long journey ahead of them. But the weather took a turn for the worst, and a storm whipped up currents over the water's surface. The Petra Star began to drag anchor, while the Inse Hamburg remained in place. And by the time that either crew had realized what was happening, it was too late. The Petra Star collided into the other vessel, and both ships suffered from extensive damage. Luckily, none of the crew were injured, and the damage didn't affect either ship's ability to stay afloat. So the Petra Star was eventually towed far away, where it dropped anchor again to wait repairs.
even on ships, everyone's just like reaching for their phones to take the videos. Everybody's got their phone now. But yeah, I haven't had a good ship grounding. I mean, like an anchor dragging case for a while. There was whenever there's like a hurricane or a typhoon here, or as we call them over in this neck of the woods, you know, there'll be a lot of anchor dragging cases. And again, it's the liability is fairly easy. If you're dragging your anchor, your fault. the one that's not dragging is in a pretty good situation as far as the claims go.
Was eventually towed far away where it dropped anchor again to wait repairs, and the Insa Hamburg remained exactly where it already was. Number 6, general cargo ship. Even when ships are at anchor or moored in port, they're always meant to be someone on the bridge monitoring what's happening, just in case they begin to drag anchor, a rope breaks, or if there's another type of emergency taking place. There's a good reason for this, because you can never totally be sure that a vessel is completely secure, and if there's not somebody ready to quickly respond, it can mean the difference between life and death, or at least a huge repair bill.
That is correct.
The Black Sea is a place that's particularly notorious for having unpredictable weather conditions that can blow in with very little warning, and in 2018, 2 vessels were caught out. The Sarah F, a general cargo ship, began to drag anchor and had engaged the engines to try to get control. It proved to be too little too late, however, as the vessel collided with a neighboring one and caused slight damage to both. Probably the biggest pain, though, was that both ships' anchors became tangled up with one another. And short of deciding to cut them loose and install new ones.
That's the answer. When your anchors, because even though they're at anchor, depending on the current and the wind, the ships are still swiveling around the anchor. I mean, a lot of times if the ship has 2 anchors, they'll drop both of the anchors to sort of prevent the spinning around effect. But if the anchors get twisted and tangled up, you basically got to just cut it loose. And I mean, I can't describe how big these anchors are on these ships, especially the huge cargo ships. I mean, tons of steel, and the chain links, you're gonna be like yay big, and they just cut them loose, and you're talking tens of thousands of dollars to replace an anchor. What do we got here? Legal Vices. My ship was moored in the Mauritius when a typhoon magically appeared. Ended up parting 3 mooring lines before we got the crew back on board from Liberty and got back underway again. Yikes. That would be scary. Yeah, exactly. Scary as hell. Dang. A former oceanographic survey vessel, former U.S. NS Mari. Oddly enough, I sailed with some people who sailed on her later, so the control system sucked. These are I see you're all sharing your stories. Who's narrating the video? I'm narrating my part of it. Obviously, I don't know who the narrator of this video is. This is just rando video, and I'm hopefully not going to get a not going to get a copyright strike, but we'll find out, won't we? The price is wrong, bitch. Oh, yeah, the anchors suck when you have to cut those loose.
It's a complicated task to pull them free. An investigation was launched into the incident, and the blame was placed on the crew of the Sarah F. The captain had been asleep at the time, and it was found that the chief officer, who was on watch at the time, had also been asleep in the bridge.
That's not something you want to do.
Number 5, car ferry hits wall. In April of 2017, a car ferry was departing the Puerta de la Luz port on the Spanish island of Gran Canaria when it suddenly experienced an electrical fault that left the crew without any means to steer it. Videos of the incident show that it proceeded to crash head-on into the nearby harbor wall.
Oh!
There was nothing anyone could do to stop it. You can see how powerful the impact was as the wall collapses under the bow. It's lucky there weren't any vehicles driving along the road on the other side at the time, because they wouldn't have stood a chance of surviving.
Okay, that's kind of a good
13
view.
Passengers.
I mean, when you look at it from this angle, it doesn't look like that's very big. But this is a person. I mean, for God's sake, that's how big this retaining wall is. And that's how big this ship is. That's a person there. And then you can see it better from the other angle.
Because they wouldn't have stood a chance of surviving.
I mean, look at the cars. How massive that wall is. And you're talking a fuck ton of money to repair that.
Unfortunately, 13 passengers who were on board the ship were injured, 5 of whom had to be hospitalized, but the ship was able to dock at the port soon after.
Yeah, because that's wow, Amica cream isn't going to fix that. Yeah, that's a good snub nose there. And yeah, that's the thing. I mean, that looked like that ship was moving pretty good speed, and you have all of that inertia, and you're going from relatively fast to 0 really quick.
So the remaining people on the ship could disembark and stay the night in a hotel before a replacement vessel arrived. The ship itself did suffer serious damage, and the collapsed wall was costly to fix, too. The biggest problem this incident caused, however, was an almost 2-mile-long oil slick that had
Oh!
been caused because the ferry had crashed through a series of underwater fuel pipes.
Yeah, not good.
Not only did this cause a huge mess that port authorities frantically scrambled to clean up, but it also affected the refueling of other ships and severely slowed down operations for several months until everything could be fixed. Number 4. Carnival Cruises.
Okay, I know this case too. And this presents a really, really, really interesting legal issue.
Carnival Cruises is one of the largest cruise operators in the world, and with so many ships, it almost seems inevitable that one would be involved in an accident. In December of 2019, the company's insurance broker probably couldn't believe what they were hearing when they were told that 2 of their cruise ships had actually managed to crash into each other while in port at Cozumel in Mexico. According to the company, the Carnival Glory ship was attempting to dock at the port when it collided with a Carnival Legend ship. 6 passengers on the Carnival Glory ship were injured and went to the medical center for treatment. But it appears as if no one on the other vessel was injured because most of them were either asleep or on the shore at the time.
Just open it like
Most
a
passengers
can
on
of
either
tuna.
ship had no idea that an accident had actually occurred. And it was only when they saw the vessels from the outside that the extent of the damage was known. Neither one suffered any structural problems that affected their seaworthiness, but there was definitely some severe aesthetic damage that led to the closure of several decks. The company never released details on the extent of the damage or the cost of fixing it, but the Glory definitely took the brunt of the impact and continued on for the rest of the cruise without any interference to its schedule. While this may seem bad enough, it was almost even worse. Another ship, the Royal Caribbean's Oasis of the Seas, was also nearby at the time, and had it become involved in the collision, the repair bill could have quite easily run into the millions.
Okay, see, now that was the interesting thing where it was 2 Carnival cruise ships that hit each other. Now, you'd think they were owned by the same company. Yes and no, usually. I mean, I don't know what the exact ownership relationship was in this case, but ordinarily what will happen is if you have an owner that operates several vessels, they'll set up a paper company for each ship. It's call it one ship, one company, or one company, one ship. So they'll say we'll have the vessel Megapint, and Legal Vices will own the Megapint, but I don't want to be personally liable if some shit happens. So I will set up a paper company called, if it's in Panama, like Megapint SA, and Megapint SA will own the Megapint. That will be its only asset. So even though Carnival Cruise was the actual behind the scenes owner of both vessels, they were probably owned by 2 separate companies that are owned by Carnival Cruises, and they had the same insurance company. So a lot of times you'll get people suing themselves and insurance companies fighting the same insurance company fighting amongst itself regarding the damages.
Number 3, the Milano Bridge.
Oh my God! This is another case. We're still working on this one. Yeah, this I don't know how much I can say about this. I'll have to be careful because this is a case that is still very, very active that I'm working on. This is fucking hilarious. This is just a rando ship accident video that I pulled up, and so far 2 cases that I'm working on are on this video. That makes me feel fucking important. Even though it's weird. Okay, yeah, this case is still ongoing. Let's just let it play, and we'll, if I can say anything, I will. If not, I won't. But yeah, this is a huge case that we're working on.
In April of 2020, the Milano Bridge, a 13,000-ton cargo vessel, was entering Busan in South Korea when it seemingly lost control. It had lined up alongside the dock, but kept swinging in towards the shore before crashing into one of the support cranes. The gantry crane was completely destroyed, according to port officials, and as a result of...
Well, I don't know. You can look at it. That crane is not in good condition.
Full investigation was launched. The ship, which wasn't carrying any containers at the time, had been approaching the port at too high speed and failed to slow down in time. According to the harbor master, it was traveling at 8 knots rather than the recommended 6 knots for approach, and it was also contending with a strong side wind. It was also too light to maneuver, as could be seen by the way the propeller was exposed above the water's surface, and this means that the ship wasn't carrying anywhere near enough ballast for a vessel of its size. It also managed to brush up against another container ship, the Seaspan Ganges, during the incident, and authorities placed the blame firmly on the captain.
No.
In recreations of the event,
Wrong.
they found that had the propeller been fully underwater and had the ship been traveling at less than 7 knots, then it would have easily been able to handle the situation, and the incident could have been completely avoided.
This was, God, COVID has really ruined my brain. I guess this was 2 years ago. Yeah, it was 2020, I believe, when this happened. But yeah, there's not a lot I can say about this other than a lot of that information was not exactly accurate. But yeah, this case is still very much active. We're still very much involved in lots of litigation. The cause of the accident is still being investigated by the authorities. So yeah, this is hilarious. This is funny. I mean, just like rando video, and I've worked on 2 of these cases they've mentioned.
Number 2, the MT Hirmand. There's a general rule in shipping that the larger ship has the right of way because it's more difficult to maneuver.
No.
Also, because if there's a collision, it's almost always the way.
Incorrect.
There's a general rule in shipping that the larger ship has the right of way.
Anyone on here knows that any mariners on here know that is absolute bullshit. There's a very specific set of rules that govern how ships interact with each other. They're called the COL regs, like collision regulations. See if I can pull this out of my ass here. The full title is the Convention on the International Regulations for Preventing Collisions at Sea, 1972. Yeah, so it's just this. It regulates how ships interact with each other. It's not, oh, your ship's bigger than mine, so you have the right of way. That's not how it works at all. I mean, some general rules. I mean, if they're in a crossing situation, if the vessels are like we're going to cross paths and there's a risk of collision, if I'm on this side and I have a ship on my starboard side, if I have a ship on my right side, I have to stay out of its way. So if you have a ship on the right side, on the starboard side of you, you have to stay out of its way. There's regulations for ships that are coming head on, where you turn to starboard, and so it's like playing chicken. You turn like this. You have the rules so that both of you don't turn like this and hit each other, or turn like this and hit each other. You both turn right. And there's for overtaking. If you're overtaking a ship from behind, you have to stay out of the way of the ship in front of you. All of these there's these rules for how ships interact with each other. There's literally no rule that says the bigger ship wins. Yeah, you turn port, I turn starboard, bad things happen. Oh man, yeah. So this is kind of fun for me anyway. You all may be just bored out of your damn skulls. Here we are asking. We have the question. Where's the question? Rocky McAllister, is there fringe around your flag of convenience? Yeah, that's what they call when you have the one ship, one company things. They call them flags of convenience. Basically, just it's a convenient place to have one ship and one company and laws set up. Engineer says tonnage envy. Yeah, I mean that would totally not work. How do you decide what ship is bigger, especially if you're the same kind of ship, for fuck's sake? That's a dumb thing to say. That's kind of the first thing that this narrator has said that I found really stupid and completely ridiculous. All right, let's fire up the grill again here.
It's more difficult to maneuver. And also because if there's a collision, it's almost always going to be the smaller vessel that suffers the most damage.
That is true.
Still, when you're dealing with 2 large ships that take a while to respond to controls, sometimes there's very little anyone can do but sit back and wait to see what happens. In 2015, 2 ships were attempting to navigate the same stretch of water near Singapore when they soon realized that there wasn't enough room for both of them. The MT Hirmand, an oil tanker owned by the National Iranian Tanker Company, took...
Oh, and see, that's a shitty thing too. When the ship is owned by a national government, that's a shitty thing. It's very, very hard to recover from a national government because what are you gonna do? They say we're not gonna pay you. Then what? You're kind of fucked. You can arrest the ship and sell it. Uh, dang. Wow, yeah, that sucks when you find out the government owns, especially if it's someone like Iran who could be under sanctions at any given time. Ugh.
Way too tight a turn as it tried to maneuver around a larger vessel. Quite what the captain was thinking is not entirely clear, but he didn't leave any.
And mind you, these things are literally hundreds of meters, hundreds of yards long, and they're full of fucking oil. I mean, that's whenever there's an accident that we get involved in, that is literally the first one of the first two questions that are asked. Did anyone die? Is there any spilled oil? Because those are things that are going to take the case to a new level. And it sounds really brutal and cold to say this, but oil pollution is a much bigger pain in the ass than someone dying.
Anywhere near enough space to do what he was trying to do. Unsurprisingly, his ship crashes into the stationary one. It was simply a case of good fortune that neither of them suffered any serious damage. The Heermond was simply able to back off and reconsider its position before deciding that it was probably best to wait for its turn to enter the port like every other ship in the area was doing. Number 1, Singapore Harbor.
Yeah.
Quite often with ship collisions, everyone around the vessels involved can see exactly what's about to happen, but for some reason the captains of these ships appear to be absolutely clueless. With such a vast ocean to sail around, it's a surprise that vessels manage to get very close to each other.
That's what I was saying.
Port. But even when they're moored out at sea, they need to keep watch out just in case a reckless captain is trying to take a shortcut straight through them. This footage shows one of the most reckless collisions ever caught on camera. It's being recorded by a crew member on a ship at anchor next to a larger vessel, who has spotted a cargo vessel that's on a collision course with it. He shrieks out in terror, perhaps not because he thinks it'll change anything, but because it helps him deal with his own panic, as the other ship continues to sail directly towards the one next to him without any sign of slowing down whatsoever. To make matters worse, it has a platform sticking out from its bow.
Earlier I said this was this wasn't the intentional one. There was one that with a very similar looking vessel that intentionally rammed another ship. Yeah, this was just a good old-fashioned accident.
Would surely cause far more damage during the collision than would happen otherwise. Amazingly, though, the gangplank actually scrapes over the top of the larger ship, and it almost seems as if they've got away with it. That's until the main bow of the ship makes contact and punches a hole into the other.
Oh, those noises.
By this time, the ship has lost all of its momentum and is stationary in the water, but the damage has already been done. Away from this incident, and it took salvage teams and shipbuilders a number of weeks before they could be pried apart and repaired. Watch our Waves playlist for more top 15 videos about mess.
Okay, that was interesting for me anyway. Dang. Did we get this here? Yeah, we got that. Okay. Yeah, that's I mean, that's interesting for me. I don't know if like nice, Jason. Just the tip. Yeah. Great. Miss Vicky May asks, they have brakes. Can they slow down? Oh, we got another answer from Grant W here. No, Vicky May, no brakes on ships. There's a stern propulsion to slow you down, but that takes a while. Yeah, if you're in port, you're kind of going slow anyway. But yeah, the only way to stop is dropping your anchor and hoping it slows you down, and then putting the engines in stern or in reverse, basically going reverse engines. But you still have all of this momentum, and you have to slow down and wait till you get, and then start to go astern. So, you know, it's it can take a long time, and you can cover a lot of water before you actually start going backwards again. Grimm's Bar, congrats on monetization. Oh, thanks. I appreciate it, and I appreciate the donation. As always, things are greatly appreciated. You know, likes and subscriptions are awesome too. Hopefully we're getting a few of those. If you haven't subscribed, I beg you to please subscribe. I'm a nice guy. I'm just kind of doing my thing here. Wow. Sarah Brain. Cerberain says, great stream so far, Vices. Oh, thank you so much. Like I said, this is what I do. So I can talk more about this in detail than those pesky rules of evidence and shit, which I mean you know the basics, but yeah, this is kind of what I do. Well, that was like the first random video I picked out, and God, it's getting hot in here. All right, there. Can't overheat my brain. So there we are with that. That was again, I don't know if this is interesting to anybody out there. It's interesting to me to watch this, and especially funny that the two cases I worked on were in it. What do we think? Do we want? Agrilla says, "Are we covering maritime law?" Yeah, that was the thing that the chat wanted. They wanted me as an Admiralty maritime guy, as a that's what my firm does mainly is the maritime and Admiralty stuff to talk about some ship collisions and ship accidents. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're reacting to ship collision and accident videos today. What do you think? Agrilith, is this your speed? Is this something you're interested in? What do you think, guys? I mean, tell me. We can stop this nonsense right now, or we can do another one. I have no idea if this is interesting to anyone out there. So your comments on this are going to be important for me in deciding how we go forward with these in the future. So I will be on here looking at things to see what we're looking at. Okay, it looks like also asked about legal mindset. Yeah, he's on his. I think he might actually be on a plane as we speak. But yeah, he'll be back here in Korea. Okay, we got fun stuff. More enjoying it. More. You're stirring up some fun chatting. Okay, well, I'm glad I'm stirring up some fun chatting. John Long last name says trying to stop a 21,000 container. Yeah, trying to stop 21. A TEU is a 20-foot container. So trying to stop a 21,000 TEU. There are no brakes on the planet that stops that much weight. That is correct. Claire Wilson, thank you so much for the sticker. That is deeply, deeply appreciated. You're awesome and you rock. Grimm's Bar, maritime law. How about them sovereign citizens arguments? Oh, fuck me. Yeah. I want to do some sovereign citizen things just because I think they're fucking hilarious. And I'm still trying to figure out why on earth they think maritime law has any fucking thing to do with them. I literally don't understand. But I'm trying to get a public defender on here who does a decent amount of sovereign citizen defense. Andrea Burkhardt is her name. If you haven't, she's got a great channel if you haven't seen her. But because they're crazy. Okay, that about sums it up. Because they're crazy. Does our firm work with companies that abandon ships? Yeah, I mean we've dealt with abandoned ships a few times. Not a lot of people don't abandon their ships because they're worth so damn much money. Even for scrap metal. But yeah, there's some times when someone will go, all right, fuck it, I'm walking away from this. Do what you want with the ship. Am I being detained? Those words send shivers down the spines of lawyers everywhere. So, should we watch another one? Give me a Y for a yes or an N for no. We'll do one more. If you want. If not, we can shoot the shit about other things. What do you think? Do more of this sort of shit? We got some Ys. We got 4 Ys. 239 of you, and we've got 4 votes. That's an awesome poll. 5, 6. Okay, we don't see any no's. You knows were too. If you wanted to know, you should have front loaded it. If I would have saw a lot of no's, I would have said, okay, fuck it. But seems to be here. So let's see. I prepared 3 rando videos, and we'll just pull up the second one. I'm only going to do one more video, I think, because Kurt Uncivil Law, I guess 20 minutes from now is going to start his stream dealing with the January 6th insurrection, quote unquote, hearings. and I don't want to step on his toes for that. In fact, I'll be going over there to make my witty and pointless comments. So after I finish here, come on over to Uncivil Law. So in the meantime, what's this? Do you know anything about old sunken ships from World War II being salvaged for X-ray machines, etc., because they're not radioactive? No, I've never heard of anything like that. That's weird. Huh. Okay. 4 Ys, you've seen like 50 so far. Yeah, I'm about a minute ahead of you guys. There's about a minute delay on what goes on here. Ships are much better than Kurt. Oh, come on. Kurt is a fantastic guy with an incredible legal mind. And I love him because his humor is about where mine is. It's very, very subtle, very, very dark. Alrighty then. Well, let's pull up rando video feed here. The next video, 5 ship collisions and crashes. Well, this could be very short. So if it is short, we'll just plow on into the next one. Oh, yeah, we might have some overlap. So we can skip through the overlaps because that's the 2 Carnival cruise lines that smashed each other we saw in the last video. Well, let's see. This one's 13 minutes. What was the other one I had? All right, let's switch these around. I'm going to pull up another video that's only 10 minutes long. And we'll save the other one for later. Let me see here. So we will drop out of this one and we will bring up the 5 shipping accidents. Where are we? 5 ship collisions and crashes. Oh, I saw my name here in the chat. Where are we at here? Legal vices. The metal used in pre-1940 ships are not contaminated with radioactive elements from nuke tests, bomb drops. So they're used in machines that are sensitive to those elements. Oh, that's kind of fascinating, but they'd kind of, if they'd been underwater for like 60, 70 years, they'd be rusted to shit, I would imagine. But that's pretty cool though. Cool. Alrighty, well, let's kick this off and see where we're going. Bring up this full screen, and I can't see my own monitor because of this. So there we go. Hey, I'm covered. All right, here we go. Starting video
the
now.
Carnival glory crashing into the Carnival legend at a port in Mexico.
Well, maybe they'll have something
to
different
the
to
shocking
say.
moment when 2 ships traveling in opposite directions somehow
there are rules for this shit.
Head on. Here are 5 incredible ship crashes and collisions caught on camera.
Number 5.
Just off the eastern coast of Mexico in the Caribbean Sea lies the island of Cozumel. It is Mexico's largest Caribbean island, and given its location, is a place that is rather tropical. This has made Cozumel quite the tourist destination, and along with that, a common stop for large cruise ships. The cause of the collision was due to strong wind gusts and currents, which pushed the ship while it was attempting to dock.
My beavers, tis but a scratch.
The Welland Canal is a navigation channel located in Ontario, Canada, connecting Lake Ontario to Lake Erie. At 27 miles long, the canal cuts through the Niagara Peninsula from St. Catharines to Port Colborne, allowing ships to avoid Niagara Falls during their journey. Throughout the canal are some areas which are a bit narrower than others.
Okay, now this, again, I was mentioning that there are specific rules that govern how ships interact with each other. I mean, there's specific rules for ships that are in like narrow sea lanes, like in narrow channels like this. There's specific rules for dealing with everything, but people just seem to like not follow them a lot. So let's see what happened here. Let's see what happened here. Why can't I bring this up again?
Normally, this isn't a problem, but for the ships in this video, it ended up resulting in a pretty incredible collision. Back on July 11th of 2020, a ship named the Florence Spirit was on its way towards...
Now, again, as I said, there's rules. Rules are for suckers, says Jason Gilman. Yeah. In a narrow channel, what happens is the ships are supposed to be on the far starboard side. So they're supposed to be as far as possible to the right side of the banks. In other words, they're not supposed to be right in the fucking middle like these two are. I don't know how deep the water is there, but I'm presuming that there's a little more room to maneuver. Yeah, this isn't supposed to happen. They should be farther to their own respective right sides.
When it encountered another ship, the Atlantis, traveling in the opposite direction. As they got closer, a man walking in the area began to film the two vessels. Little did he know, he would end up capturing the exact moment they collided. The collision left the Florence Spirit with damage to the starboard side and with bow damage to the Atlantis. According to a statement from the St. Lawrence Seaway Management Corporation, the crash occurred near Port Robinson shortly before 4 p.m. on a day when sailing conditions appeared to be normal. In the days after the event, investigators announced they were treating this as a Class 3 investigation and that it would take up to 4...
Quick question for everybody. Apparently Amber Heard is giving an interview right now. Do we care? Do we stay here or do we go A? S for ship, A for Amber. S for ship, A for Amber. Let me know. Do we care about Amber Heard anymore? Oh, it looks like, oh God, we're split right down the middle. Let's do that. Let's just pull it up for just a quick second here to see what it looks like. And otherwise, we'll do a separate fucking video on it. Why not? Yeah, let me see here. Looks like it may be over. What do we got here? Shut up, advertisement. Okay, it's gonna be on. It's on the. Yeah, this is gonna. I think we need to do just a separate video about this, a review. I mean, it's not going anywhere, and we've already missed the beginning part. So rather than break it up, let's just plow through with this, and we'll see what's going on.
450 days. As of this video, it seems we still don't have a clear answer, but thankfully, nobody on board either ship was injured.
Is the turn a floater
in
or
southeastern Alaska is the small town of Petersburg. With a population of right around 3,000 people, the economy here relies heavily on commercial fishing and tourism to survive. Throughout the summer, smaller cruise ships frequently stop at this small community, and it was on one of these cruises when this next collision was filmed. Back on May 16th of 2012, a ferry full of tourists was scheduled to dock in Petersburg, something this ship in particular had done many times before. During its arrival, a passenger on board began filming the scenery as they got closer to land. Not long after beginning her video, she was startled by a violent noise off in the distance. When she ran to see what was going on, she was shocked to find that her ship had just crashed into a building.
Well, it did come into port. Yeah. Yeah, if you're right next to the piers, if you're on a cruise or on a ship somewhere and you're right next to the dock and you start hearing the ship's whistles, the ship horns like that, that just kind of means grab onto something real tight because something ugly is about to happen.
Oh my goodness.
Ugh.
Oh my gosh.
And God bless that lady for being so restrained. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. I'd be like, well, fuck.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh,
Okay.
no way.
Way.
Oh my gosh, the ferry just crashed into Ocean Beauty.
Ocean used to be beauty.
Oh my gosh.
An investigation into this crash revealed it to be primarily the fault of a maneuvering error by the captain.
You think?
What happened was, as the ship was traveling into the Wrangell Narrows, the captain attempted to maneuver the vessel into a countercurrent to help slow its approach. Unfortunately, due to both the current and the engine, the ship was unable to complete its turn, and the captain did not recognize the error until it was too late. Thankfully, the crew was able to slow down the ship enough to minimize the damage and avoid any injuries.
That poor business owner.
Within the country of Egypt lies one of the most important trade routes in the world.
Oh, hey.
The Suez Canal.
Do we get the blocking of the Suez Canal?
In 1858, the canal provides a much-needed direct trade route between the North Atlantic and Indian Oceans via the Mediterranean and Red Seas. This drastically cut down the travel time and distance for ships going from Asia to Europe, making it one of the more important maritime routes in the world today. But, as with anything, the canal has had its hiccups, especially in recent years.
Oh, cool. Are we
On September 29th of 2014,
that's
a
not the
man
main
named
blocking.
Fadi Ashur captured the exact moment two container ships collided when traveling through the canal.
Oh, God.
The
Remember
video
what I said about...
shows the
Oh,
MV
fuck me.
Colombo Express, one of the largest container ships in the world, attempting to overtake another ship.
Oh, fuck me. Remember what I said about each one of those ships having thousands upon thousands of containers? I believe that I believe this ship here is a 14,000 container vessel, maybe 15,000 container vessel, 15,000 containers. And again, each one of those containers could carry a few $1,000s worth of things, or potentially hundreds of millions of dollars. Or well, maybe I mean, I can't imagine unless it was like container full of gold. But yeah, I mean, tens and tens of thousands of, or hundreds of thousands of dollars even of stuff in the containers. And if you're going to overtake someone from behind, you need to stay out of their way and make sure there's enough room that there's no risk of collision. I mean, this could be ugly.
The Maersk Tangent. Without warning, the Colombo takes a sharp turn and ends up crashing right into the other ship.
Ugh. It's like you said, these are all like in slow motion. Oh. Oh, man. Everybody's cheering the accident. Oh, don't go over. Those are so stacked so high, the ship could easily... Wow, they were cheering on the accident, you sick fucks. Yeah, this is ship rage.
Immediately after the collision, both ships were sent to the canal lakes to allow a proper investigation to commence. Early reports state that both ships experienced damage, and
Yeah.
one even lost 3 containers.
Oh, that's not bad.
But there were thankfully no injuries reported. In the years since this video was published, a reason for the crash has yet to be revealed to the public. Clearly, something must have gone terribly wrong, with many experts speculating some type of mechanical failure. But the truth is, we still don't really know what happened that day.
Nope.
The port of Venice is the 8th
Okay,
busiest
this is
commercial port in Italy,
The
and
Venice
one of the
accident.
most important in the Mediterranean. Nowadays, traveling by ship to Venice has become a tourist's dream. But for the people in this video, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare.
Dun, dun,
On
dun.
June 2nd of 2019, a resident of Venice was filming the cruise ship MSC Opera as it arrived at Venice
We already saw
Harbor.
this one. Huh?
As the ship got closer, it became evident that something was wrong, as it was not slowing down nearly fast enough. Seconds later, it crashed into a tourist boat and dock.
Yeah, we get to hear the audio, then we'll cut it because we've already seen this one. Again, if you're by the pier and you hear that kind of noise, you know something bad is happening. No good metal crunchy noises. Boo! We need crunching metal noises. Dang. Well, I think 2 videos is good enough for one day. Again, I mean, I was surprised to find out how many of these accident videos there are out there. Apparently, there's a lot of overlapping that goes on because those 2 videos we looked at had several overlapping cases. But we'll definitely do more of these if it's something that you guys like. Let me clear through a few of these. Engineer says, there are mariners in the chat when it's full of sea stories. That's good. Glad you're here. Glad you're enjoying it. Miss Vicky May says we already read that. Yeah, they can't slow down. They just drop anchor and hope for the best, or go astern and hope for the best. Lordy 08. Oh, thank you so much for this generous donation. Mary Steamsmas, keep being great, and I'm loving the ins and outs of maritime law. Thank you so much for that comment. Engineer again, legal vice is one of the situations where it's counterintuitive, but on water, you need more way to have control. The slower you go, the less control you have when it comes to the waves. That is correct. It's like counter steering into your slide. It's counterintuitive, but yeah, you need the engine power to kick it around. And Shade Chaser, thank you very much. Cruise ship or passenger on a container ship? Which would be more relaxing for travel? Oh, definitely a passenger on a cruise ship. Container ships, I mean, that's one of the videos that I want to do too, like container ships in bad weather. Cruise ships generally stay in the shipping lanes where there's good weather and calm seas. When you get the container ships, I've been on some container ships for legal work that got caught in some bad storm. And you're talking 30, you have like the ship will go up and drop 30 meters. I mean, it's just huge drops as they go over these huge waves. And yeah, I would, it can be exciting, relaxing. And container ships are dirty and smell, and there's no swimming pools, and the food isn't that great. Hell yeah, I'd go cruise ship every time. But if you're looking for an adventure, I don't know if they still do it in COVID time, but a lot of the bigger cruise ships will actually have a few quarters for passengers. But yeah, if you want relaxation and comfort, go cruise ship. Definitely go cruise ship. Volkswagen lost 4,000 cards on board the Felicity Ace. Yep. Just about a month or so ago, as the ship sank in rough seas off the coast of Portugal. Yeah, catch on fire and sink. We dealt with a case for the sister ship of the Felicity Ace, the Sincerity Ace, where the same thing happened. It was full of about 4,000 cars, and it caught on fire. Didn't sink, but it was completely useless, and they ended up scrapping the ship and just like chopping it up and selling it for little metal bits. But yeah, there's a lot of car carriers. They've been in there've been a few car carrier accidents recently. So again, leave your comments. Let me know what you think about this, because this was just a random thing that you guys asked for, and I was happy to do, because I think these things are funny as hell. I think that some of them are serious, and it was really awesome to kind of see two of the cases that I worked on and am working on in one of the videos. That was pretty funny, but yeah, if these are some things you want me to keep doing, I'll be happy to do it once a week or so. Just let me know, either here in the comments or leave a comment on the video. The likes will sort of assist, and the subscriptions always help too. So yeah, just kind of let me know, and we can do some reaction videos. Maybe we can set aside Mondays for reaction day or something, as long as I'm not busy doing things. But let me know, and just let me know if there's a particular video you want me to react to, then send a link to me by email at thelegalvices@gmail.com, or Twitter at thelegalvices. Send me a clip, and again, I like to do these just like fresh. This was kind of fun, having not seen them before. And so if you send me the links, we'll look at it. I'll watch a couple of seconds to see if it's something that looks interesting, and we can do that. If there's other topics you want me to cover, send me an email. That's gonna be great. I'm happy to do things that people want me to look at. With that having been said, we'll have to see what happened with Amber on the Today Show. Maybe we'll get into that tomorrow night. I have an important dinner I've got to go to. Maybe when I get back, I can do a late stream, or we can do it on the following day. But hey, we got lots of things to go through. This is just like this is a new channel. This is a brand new channel now that Depp Heard is mostly out of the way. Apparently, we're going to be doing another one real quick. We're open to a lot of things. There's a lot more cases coming on. There's some more Manson news, Marilyn Manson things in the news. We're about 3 weeks away from the next Taylor Business video, because she's got another hearing coming up on July 5th. Engineer says, Legal Vices, I think it depends on the ship. I've seen videos of people who travel by container ship, and they look very relaxing. Hey, I guess if you go like places where the weather's not bad at good times of year, when it's not like typhoon season or something, but you definitely have more amenities and luxuries on a cruise ship than you do on a container ship. Well, there we go. Toolman CT says, hope to meet you when you're in Salt Lake. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be there. I'm leaving Korea on the 16th of July, and I'm coming back on the 31st of July. And this is just a weird fact that I was looking and considering today, that in the last 25 years, I've been on an airplane on 20 July 31st. It's kind of weird, but I'll be in the West. So I'll get to Utah, and I'm going to spend a few days in Vegas. I'm trying to get to the Hicksville Trailer Palace. Andrew over at Law of Self Defense beat me to the palace, the Trailer Palace. I wanted to get there first, but he's getting there first. So now I don't even know if I want to go, but it would still be fun. See if my sister wants to go camping or whatnot over there at the Trailer Palace. But I'll be in Vegas for a couple of days. I'll be hitting some of the cigar lounges there. I'll be in Salt Lake a couple of days. We'll hit a few places. I'll keep people posted if somebody wants to drop in and have meetup either in Vegas or Salt Lake. I'm cool with it. That's fun. We got a couple of notices here. Doc McFuzzball, thank you again so much. I ran industrial engineering and compliance for an air cargo company in the early 2000s. Thought it was really complicated until I saw the other side of intermodal. Yeah. Still air travel and air law is, that's governed by a lot of really interesting treaties and things. Hope to be able to meet you. Yeah, we saw that already. Thank you very much. But yeah, I told you we'll be there. We'll let you know. Well, it looks like I mean, nobody said that fucking sucks. Don't ever do another one of these shitty videos ever again. So I guess we'll do another one. Like I said, maybe we'll set aside Mondays for reaction video day. Send me things you want me to react to, whatnot. I'll be happy to look into them. Right now, I'm gonna pop on over to Kurt's channel, Uncivil Law, to look into the January 6th hearings. Join me over there if you want. I'll try to make my usual witty comments. But in the meantime, again, thank you all so much for your generous donations, your generous super chats, and the stickers and the likes. And don't forget to like this video, please. I would deeply, deeply appreciate it. And if this is something you like, spread the word, share videos with your friends, tell them to check out this idiot, and I'll say, hey, let's do this again. This is fun. I really enjoy it. Great to see you all again. Thank you so much to my mods. Even though my Beavers unit is late as always, she bitches and moans at me that I don't send her a personal gold engraved invitation of my video times, and then I do, and she doesn't show up. Just kidding. You're awesome, my Beavers unit, and all the other mods. All my other mods are just fantastic. Thank you for being here and viewing this with me. I had a lot of fun. I'm going to go top off my mega pint glass and head on over to Kurt Town. Join me over there, and we'll see you then. Until next time, please take care of yourself, and please enjoy your legal vices. Bye now.